Shalom, call halal, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Wakaha, Kwadash, double honors into the apostles, double honors into the elder bishops, salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. The would-be judges, the 144,000, and the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners among the heathen nations that look like the heathen nations, and to the few akwaf that are listening and learning, we say shalom. All right, the Israelites are scattered among all people. This is not a black thing. All right, and as far as these two criminal Edomites on the screen, as you can see that they're not white, they're red. It's a beautiful thing when Edomites stand next to white. You can clearly see that they're not. That's a fraudulent, controlled narrative, social construct that they devised to hide who they are. All right, Mr. Milkowski, also known as Netanyahu, and his former minister of defense, and they wanted, it's just shameful spewing upon their glory. All right, and then when they get called out, they hide behind the anti-Semitic game. Well, the very people that you're killing are actually Shemitic. All right, they're Shemitic. So how, I don't get that. How their genocide of these people, this brutal genocide, all right, which is clear and apparent, and they try to defend it and say they're defending themselves. All right, and basically, it's like the Palestinians have slingshots versus fully automatic weapons. All right, that's the comparison. So it's overkill, and it is a genocide. This is Habakkuk 2:16, and it reads, "Thou art filled with shameful glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. And the cup of Yahweh's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be upon thy glory. For the violence of Lebanon," and they're not, the IDF is getting their ass kicked in Lebanon. They're not doing too well over there. IDF soldiers, this minister of defense, they're used to fighting people when they have slingshots. They're not used to fighting soldiers who can actually shoot back and fight back. I keep saying the Krav Maga is a garbage martial art, and it seems like it's only effective on women and children, old people, untrained soldiers. But it says, "For the violence of Lebanon, for the violence of Lebanon shall cover thee, and the spoil of beasts, which made them afraid, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land of the city, and all that dwell therein." So they're, wherever these people go, they just leave blood, and they want more and more. They covet fields and they take it by force, as it says in the book of Micah, and it says in Nahum, they covet fields and they take it by force, man. All right, they want more and more and more. They can never have enough. And then, per example, I was watching Andy Hafong, and he was interviewing Professor Mohammed Marandi, and Professor Mohammed Marandi brought out a very important point. As this excuse why they attacked Iran, barely a week ago, and blew up a facility and said that it was a nuclear facility, but yet there was no nuclear fallout. You see, there was no nuclear fallout, or cloud, or anything, poison or danger, none of that. So what is that telling you? All right, these men are stone cold murderers. They're not killers. They're stone cold murderers, and they're liars. All right, and shameful spewing is being spewed upon their glory, man. They're being shamed, and right now, they're being brought up on charges of crimes against humanity, and then they're crying foul that this is, they pull the anti-semantics card. All right, but once again, the people that they're committing the genocide against are Shemitic. All right, so that's a horrible excuse. All right, here it is. This headline says, and this is C.J. Werleman, and He's a Amalekite himself, also, J-ish, J-O-O. It says the state of Israel is terrorizing its neighbors and the whole world since 1948. Well, I can't even begin to argue with that, especially when you look at what's been going on as of lately and how they basically drawn NATO and the EU and America basically into World War III. The scripture says that the least of the flock shall draw them out. That prophecy has come to pass. And with all this, the collapse of societies and the collapse of the dollar, the dollar not being the world reserve currency, the other nations and the BRIC nations, their digital system and their money system is already up and running, ready to go. America is behind, and it's clear that all roads are leading to the MOTB. All right. You're gonna, like I said, you're gonna see some of these MOTB denier camps start to slowly come around and try to, it's gonna be entertaining watching them try to change their tune as we get closer to the end of this thing, and how they're gonna say, well, if you were listening closely to us, morons, that type of thing. They're gonna try to say that they were saying it all along when they clearly weren't. Because the MOTB is not sleeping with so-called white women. So if you was sleeping with Ishmael, that wouldn't be the MOTB. You were sleeping with a Hamite, that wouldn't be the. But if you sleeping with an Edomite woman, man, these guys are so weak in knowledge, man. They're so lack of understanding. All right, but nevertheless, let's stay on these Amalekites. Let's play a little bit of and it says that the world shall hate the whore, which is and who's the head of the whore? The whore. The U.S. And who controls the U.S.? The small hats. Hands down, there is no argument. All you have to do is look at how many of them are in Congress, look at how many of them are in the FBI, how many of them are in the CIA, all the financial organizations, all the NSA, all that, the Pentagon. When you look, you're going to see their names. Social media, mainstream media, they own it all. All right. APAC, ADL. And it's not anti-semantics to point that out. That's just pointing out a fact. And that's what these people do. When you point out facts, they try to say that this is, like you're slandering them racially. Just for pointing some. Look, if it's, that house on the big hill. Hey, well, don't you own a house? Oh, well, how dare you? You're anti-semantic. What? That's how silly they sound. The argument they produce is just is juvenile. It's stupid.
Hello, I'm CJ Wellerman, and in this episode, we reveal how the United States and the rest of the world now hates everything about the state of Israel. But first, please remember to like and subscribe to our show. Now let's get into it. As a journalist and activist, I've been covering the Israeli-Palestinian conflict since 2010, and with one specific objective: to counter the billions of dollars that Israel spends in coercing Western politicians and the mainstream media outlets to bend to its will.
What he just said is 300% true. It's absolutely true. Most of the NGOs in America are small hats, JOOs. As simple as that. It is as simple and honest as that. That is not a lie. That is not anti any goddamn thing. All right? And these people are protected, and that's why they get away. But, that time is coming to an end, though. Let's go to Genesis. Let's go back to beginning Genesis 4. When that spirit of Cain is upon Esau, because if you understand the scriptures, you know that Esau, is that serpent seed of Cain all over again. But here we go. This is Genesis 4 and 12. And it reads, "And when thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth." And that's exactly what Esau is, because Esau, Edom, everywhere that they are, that's not Mount Seir. All right. They've raped, robbed, and murdered and colonized. Watched Gladiator 2. All right. And and it's crazy because you can see how it's mirroring what's happening here today. Even how at the end, without giving away the movie for anyone who haven't seen it, how the two armies were about to fight against each other, and they were the same damn army. That's what's about to happen here now. All right, because you got the Democrats going to be controlling certain elements of law enforcement, military law enforcement, and then you have the Republicans, and they're about to go against each other because the Democrats are doing things that are trying to shut down what the duly elected or duly selected chief of commander, new chief of commander, is trying to set forth. All right, and through all of that, Esau Edom is protected. But the beauty of it is that covering is coming off of him, because Esau is dying in the streets. The police officers are getting murked. Their law enforcement are now finally, being brought up on charges for the crimes that they do. So why should Bibi, Milikowski be any different? All right. But it says, and Cain said unto Yahweh, my punishment is greater than I can bear, because he got that mark put on him. All right. And that mark is, that red flesh, that cancerous, can't go in the sun for too long, vampire-like flesh. They literally get skin cancer, burn up when they go in the sun. There's absolutely zero advantage in being pale or having no melanin. Zero advantage. All right, in so many ways. But yet they've pushed this narrative that that's superior, but it's actually inferior. All right, verse 14. Behold, thou have driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid, and I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that everyone that fighteth me shall slay me, and that time is come. That time it were upon. It says all the hands of the wicked shall be upon him, and then in that scripture that I'm speaking of, the wicked is talking about the workers, the little people, the small people. They're all going to look at Edom as being the problem. That's what the world is looking at. They're the problem in the earth right now. All right. And it says, and Yahweh said unto me, therefore, whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And Yahweh set a mark upon Cain, lest anyone find him should kill him. All right. So Cain got cursed with that pale flesh. All right. And then when Jacob and Esau were born, that was Cain and Abel all over again. And Esau was born with the mark of Cain. As a matter of fact, I have Shakespeare's complete works on the shelf behind me in my library. And in the glossary of Shakespeare's complete works, when you go to Cain, in the glossary, the definition of Cain says colored red. So that means that Shakespeare, they knew way back then that because the whole world was swarthy, right? Different shades of brown, from light brown to dark chocolate brown, what people will ignorantly and fraudulently call black today. We're not going to get into that word black, but swarthy. All right. Swarthy just it means dark in complexion, and there's different shades of swarthiness, from swarthy to tawny. I will be considered tawny. Very light brown. Okay.
Bernie Sanders speaking ahead of Wednesday's Senate vote to block the sale of U.S. tank rounds.
Well, let's go back a little bit.
What happened on the Senate floor? Independent Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders speaking ahead of Wednesday's Senate vote to block the sale of U.S. tank rounds, bomb kits, and other lethal weapons to Israel.
Now, here we go. Now, let's think about it like this. Saying they're going to block the sales of them, but who are they getting the money from? You have to follow the money. Columbo told you to follow the money. They've gotten hundreds of billions, all right, from the taxpaying people in America over these last couple years. I mean, they've been getting, on average about $6 billion a year anyway, $6 to $10 billion a year anyway. But even more so now that these wars and all these things have broken out. All right, so when they turn around and buy these weapons, You already gave them the money. They're not even spending their own money to buy these weapons. See, these people are being found to just be liars, man. So if you really just listen to him, Esau tells on himself, man. That's Psalm 64:8. So he shall make his own tongue to fall upon themselves. But this is Isaiah 44 and 25, and it reads, I started 24. Point is in 25, though. And it reads, thus Yahweh thy Redeemer, and he that formeth thee in the womb, I am Yahweh, and make of all things that stretch forth the heavens alone, and spreadeth abroad by earth myself, that frustrateth the tokens of the liars, and maketh diviners mad, and turneth wise men backward, and maketh their knowledge foolish. These people's knowledge is foolish. She just told on them. They want to cut off the funds. You got all these NGOs that formulate all this money. Meanwhile, Americans, man, you look at Philly, look at Oakland, look at San Francisco, up and down. I haven't been to back out to the West Coast in many, many years, but the stories that I'm hearing from people that still live there that I know, in areas that I once lived in were really beautiful, are just run down ghettos now, full of hopelessness, homelessness, and drug addicts. All right. And they still asking, an arm and a leg to live out there. All right. Speaking with my daughter, and she went for the fact that her family, her mother's side of the family, they did pretty well for themselves to be Jake. It's a lot of money floating between them. But the fact that if they didn't own their own homes, they wouldn't be able to afford to live out there. So how much for people who don't have anything? All right. When you got people that are making six figures, all right, a couple both making six figures, and it's still not enough for them to live, man. So California is unlivable. Well, guess what? All of America is going to be that way soon. All right. And just look at the images of what's happening on the streets of Philly. So with them hundreds of billions, probably trillions at this point, that they keep sending to these people to fight these never-ending wars, all right, they could have fixed America, And the thing is, too, they're sending money to people who are better off than you. You know that they have free health care, free college, and all that in land of Israel. In America, you go broke to try and get a degree and spend your whole life trying to pay it back. All right? That's a big accomplishment for people. It's a big deal the day that they finally pay off their school loan or possibly pay off their home loan. And both of those things are becoming almost unreachable. Why? Well, because of the policy. Because these people their wisdom is being made foolish, just like I just read. Their knowledge is foolish.
Measure did fail, but 18 other senators joined Sanders to stop arming Israel.
I've heard members of the U.S. Senate come to this floor to denounce human rights violations taking place around the world. I've heard well-founded concern.
So it's not just the European world courts that are saying it. Senators, at least 19, and we know it's probably more than that within the government here, are saying it as well. If I'm not mistaken, I think Bernie Sanders is a small head himself. So, and it doesn't matter. I mean, they're all Edomites, and they're completely and totally a house divided. And a house divided cannot stand. We literally are living in the last moments of the last days. All right? America doesn't have long at all. The world doesn't have long at all. Russia, to send a message, fired a missile into Europe, a couple. Supersonic missiles, and you never saw anything go up to try to stop them because they couldn't. So Russia just let you know and let the whole world know that EU and NATO has no defense against them. They don't stand a chance. And if everybody hates America and hates Israel right now, well, guess what the European Union is going to do? European and the EU is going to do just what the prophecy says. They're going to join on with the BRICS, and everyone's going to fire their arrows at the whore. Everybody's going to penetrate her at once. All right. I mean, she's been used to that anyway, getting gang banged. That's how filthy this place is. All right. And they just keep being found to be liars. This is Jeremiah 50 and 36. But I'm gonna actually start in 33, but the point is in 36. All right. And it reads, "Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together. And all that took them held them captives, held them fast, and they refused to let them go." All right. We can't leave Babylon. We need they hate us so much, but they won't let us leave. You got to have documentation and passports. If you owe a debt, Title 4D child support being one of them, or anything like that, taxes or anything, they won't allow you to get to even leave here. And not, you know, and we're not talking about trying to leave to move away, just to go on a vacation or leave to go on business and come back. But you think you're free. No, you're not free. All right, because they own you. That's what your birth certificate, that's what your social security number, that's what it's for. They trade you on the market. They trade your number on the straw person. They create a fictional you with all capital letters. All right. And that's what they do. All right. They control you. So you're not free. And this also shows you too that this yet another scripture that proves that these people, you know, that these Edomites, because remember the Bible tells you clearly that the Lord returns to a world ruled by Edom, not Japhet. All right, for these idiots out there, you know, there was no scriptures that said Japhet would oppress the Israelites, nor Japhet would be in power, you know, when the Lord returns. Edom would be in power. All right. And if the place where Edom is Rome all over again, Japhet didn't rule Rome. The Edomites did. All right. The Edomites ruled the portion of all of Asia, including the portion that they renamed Europe. All right. Point blank period. And they removed Japhet out of his lands and out of power. And Esau took them over. That's why so many Edomites in Europe now. Okay. They took it over. Rome fell, then Jacob took it over. And they drove all the swarthy so-called black people out. All that evidence is coming out. The evidence about, you know, the black Brits, the black Scots, the black Irish, the black Vikings. I've been telling you. You know, people will scoff, but the evidence is there. You know, these people existed in the Dark Ages. President Putin slapped the whole world in the face with that brutal truth almost a year ago. Right? When he showed the Russian icons. But guess what? The men of the Lord have been showing you this all along. Back in Jeremiah 50. It says, "Their Redeemer is strong, Yahweh of hosts is his name. He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that he may give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon." He's going to disquiet these people. These Edomites and these heathens that are joined unto him. And Jake that's joined unto him. "A sword is upon the Chaldeans, saith Yahweh, and upon the inhabitants of Babylon, and upon her princes, and upon her wise men. A sword is upon all liars, and they shall dote. And the sword is upon her mighty men, and they shall be dismayed." There's nothing, the same way Russia showed you there's nothing you can do to stop them. There's nothing Russia, any other Edomite, or any other military service is going to be able to do to stop the destruction that's coming to Babylon. When the Lord commandeers all the arrows and send them where he wants them to go. And when he sends the chariots to rain down fire and collect up his elect to save them from the fire. All right, because I had a scoffer. Well, America's gonna get destroyed, but you're in America. Well, yeah, you're right. And I'm not running. I can't run anyway. Only thing I can do is stand up and stand on the truth. All right, and pray that the Lord will take care of me and my household, because he promised he would. That's in the scriptures. So the scriptures hasn't lied to me. Man has lied to me, especially the so-called white man, especially so-called Esau, Edom. All he did was taught me false history and lies about the Bible until I actually learned the truth about it, the truth about who he really is. Okay? Ezekiel 35 and 2. Salakia. Thus saith the Lord power, because the enemy have said against you, aha, even the ancient high places are ours in possession. Those aha, them JOOs, them small hats. The Bible was making fun of them right here. And let you know that they are the ones that stole the Holy Land. Jumping down to verse 35, Ezekiel 36 and 5. Therefore, thus saith the Lord power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen and against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession with the joy of all their hearts, with despiteful minds to cast it out for a play. Who did that? They did that. Their forefathers did that. And now they're claiming. So when the Bible talks about the imposter that's claiming to be the people of the Lord and claiming his land, and then trying to hide behind the anti-Semitic shields, here they are. Here they are. And we're going to go to Deuteronomy to finish up. Deuteronomy 33 and 29, one of my favorite scriptures. And it reads, Happy art thou, O Israel, who is like unto thee, O people saved by Yahweh, the shield of thy help, and who is the sword of thy excellency, and thy enemies shall be found liars unto thee, and thou shalt tread upon their high places. We're treading upon their high places. Their high places are the lies that they built. All right? The high-rise condominiums of lies. Fake, fraudulent, false history. Identity theft. These are the biblical Edomites. Kol halal Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai Bahasham Rakaha Kodash Kwam Yasharala Abad Babal.